Welcome, Algebra 2 students, to the Algebra 2 homework video, page 219, numbers 8 through 13 and 17 and 18. Let's go ahead and get into this right away. The directions that I gave you are obviously to solve for x first on numbers 8 through 13. Alright, so here we go. Alright, using Cramer's rule, here's what we're going to do. We're going to solve for x first. So x equals, put a fraction bar, and then we'll put a matrix here and a matrix here. Now remember, your coefficient matrix always goes to the denominator, always 2, 5, 1, 3. Okay, always. Now, what goes up top here is you're solving for x. So this is your x row, this is your y row or column, this is your x column, this is your y column. So because I'm solving for x, I'm going to put the same matrix that I have here up here, except I'm going to drop out the x column and put my constant terms in. So 12, 27, and then bring up my 1 and 3. And now let's see what happens. Here we go. Pretty quick here. Multiply up 27, I'll put a negative 27. Multiply down 36. That will give me a positive 9. Multiply up, it's 5, I'll put a negative 5. Multiply down, that's 6. Combine, I get a 1. So my y answer is 9. My x answer, is 9. There we go. And now to find your y, you are more than welcome to just substitute that in to the equation. So 5 times 9 plus 3y equals 27. 5 times 9 is 45. Positive 3y equals 27. Bring your 45 over and make it a negative 45, and you're going to get 18. Divide both sides by 3, and y equals, actually be a negative 18. Divide both sides by 3, and y equals negative 6. So your answer is 9, comma, negative 6. Okay? Cramer's rule is a pretty quick way to solve these. Moving on to number 9. Okay, for number 9, we're going to solve for x first. So we put x equals, put a fraction bar in the denominator. I put a coefficient matrix, 1, 2, negative 4, negative 7. Now, I'm going to write a matrix up here, but I have to drop out one of these columns. I'm solving for x, so I drop out the x column. In place of that, I put 22 and 39, and then put negative 4, negative 7. And now here we go. I'm going to need a calculator for this, obviously. 39 times negative 4 would be negative 156. So I'm going to put a positive 156. 22 times 7 is going to be 154, a negative 154. So I leave it negative 154. So up top I have a 2. Okay, multiply up, I get a negative 8, so I'll put a positive 8. Multiply down, negative 7. 8 negative 7 is 1. So my x answer is 2. 2 over 1. Now, let's substitute 2 in for x real quick. 2 times 2. Negative 7y equals 39. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 7y equals 39. Bring the 4 over and make it a negative 4. And I'm left with negative 7y equals 35. Divide by 7 and y equals negative 5. Alright, negative 5. And that should be the correct answer. And of course, we always want to get in the habit of writing our answer in the correct form as an ordered pair. Alright, so there we go. We just found where those two lines intersect without doing any graphing at all. There's the ordered pair where these two lines would intersect. Alright, number 10, we're going to solve for x first. And so, here we go. X equals, put a fraction line, matrix, 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 matrix. Now remember, students, in the denominator, you always put your coefficients matrix, okay? So 1, 2, 4, 5. Now, we've got to drop out one of these columns for our top matrix. We're solving for x, so we drop out the x column. So I'm going to put a negative 72. Multiply down, and we get a positive 60. So the determinant would be negative 12. Multiply up, we get 8, so I'll put a negative 8. Multiply down, I'll get a positive 5. Combine those, and we get a negative 3. So negative 12 for negative 3 is positive 4. Let's make sure we're correct so far. Good. So my x value is 4. Now, where the x is, I'm going to substitute 4. 2 times 4, positive 5y equals 18. 2 times 4 is 8. Positive 5y equals 18. Bring the 8 over and make it a negative 8. 5y equals 10. Divide both sides by y, or by 5, excuse me, and y equals 2. So your answer is 4. Your answer is 4, comma, 2. Alright? 4, comma, 2. There we go. So again, we just found where two lines intersected without even graphing them, okay? These two lines would intersect at the point 4, comma 2. Alright, for numbers 11, 12, and 13, we're going to solve for y first, okay? Y. So here we go. Y equals fraction bar, 2 matrices. Your coefficient matrix always goes in your denominator. So 4, negative 2 from right here. Negative 1, 1 from right here. Now we're solving for y. This is your y column. So I'm going to drop those numbers out up top and put the constant terms in place of them. And then of course I bring up my 4, negative 2. Alright, now here we go. Multiply up, I get positive 4, so I'll put a negative 4. Multiply down, I get a positive 12. Combine those and I will get 8. Multiply up is positive 2, so I will put a negative 2. Multiply down, I get a positive 4. Combine those, I get a 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my y value is 4, okay? My y value is 4. Now, I can take that and substitute 4 in for y. Negative 2x, positive, parentheses 4, equals 3. Bring your positive 4 over and it becomes a negative 4. So 2x equals negative 1. Negative 2x equals negative 1. Now divide both sides by a negative 2, and negative divided by a negative is positive. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. So your answer is 1/2, comma, 4. So if you were to graph these two lines, they would intersect at that point right there. 1/2, 4. Number 12, we're going to solve for y first. Solve for y first. Here we go. We put our y equals fraction line, and then put two sets of bars for your matrix. Now in your denominator, you always put the coefficient matrix. So 1, 2, negative 2, 5. Then up top, we're going to drop one of these columns out. We're going to drop out the y column because we're solving for y. So 1, 2, 11, negative 14. And here we go. Multiply up, that's negative 22, positive 22. So I'm going to put a negative 22. Multiply down, I'll get a negative 14. Combine those two numbers and I get a negative 36 for my numerator. Now in my denominator, multiply up, it's negative 4. I'm going to put a positive 4. Multiply down, I get a positive 5. Combine those two numbers and you get a 9. So I have a negative 36 being divided by a positive 9, which would definitely give me a negative 4. Okay? So y should equal negative 4, and it does. So far so good. Now we can take negative 4 and substitute it in for y right here, or the other equation, it doesn't matter. Either equation works. So 2x, positive 5, parentheses, negative 4, equals negative 14. 2x, negative 20, 5 times negative 4, equals negative 14. Bring your 20 over and bring your negative 20 over and make it a positive 20. So we're left with 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2 and x equals 3. So the ordered pair were these two linear to solve for y first. Okay, so here we go. The coefficient matrix will go in the denominator. So 2, negative 1, negative 4, 1. Okay, now up top here I'm going to drop out my y column and put 7, 1, and bring everything else up. And here we go. Multiply up, I get a negative 7, change the sign to positive 7. Multiply down, I get a positive 2, combine those, and I have 9 for my numerator. Multiply up, I get a positive 4, so I'm going to change the sign to a negative 4. Multiply down is a positive 2. Combine those, I get a negative 2. So 9 divided by negative 2 is negative 4 and 1 half. Negative 4 and 1 half. Okay? So y equals negative 4 and 1 half, or negative 9 over 2. Alright, either way is fine. In fact, I like negative 9 over 2, and I'll tell you why. That's a lot easier to substitute into your y value over here than a mixed number, in my opinion. So negative x positive, then for y I'm going to put negative 9 halves equals 1. Now a positive times a negative is negative, so we have negative 9 halves, negative x. Now bring your negative 9 halves over, make it positive. So you have 1 and a positive 9 halves, or 1 plus 4.5. So that's going to give you 5.5. If negative x equals 5.5, then x equals negative 5.5. Now they probably have an answer here of negative 11 over 2. Probably, I'm thinking. Let's see. Yes, they do. So you're welcome to put negative 11 over 2 comma negative 9 over 2 for your answer. Or if you want to put negative 5.5 comma negative 4.5, that's fine also. Or you could put negative 5.5 comma negative 4.5. That would be fine also. Okay, so either way, students, all of those answers are the same. But the main thing is to understand how to use Kramer's rule to solve these systems. Okay, all right, moving on. Here we go. Number 17 and 18. These will be the longer, more difficult ones. Okay, for number 17, I've instructed you to solve for x and y first. So here we go. Let's solve for x first. I'll have a big coefficient matrix down here below. 1, 2, negative 3, 3, negative 1, 1, and then negative 1, 2, negative 3. Alright. Now, I'm just checking my work over here, looking for mistakes. Okay, we're solving for x. So when I go to write my 3 by 3 matrix up here, I'm going to drop out this row here. Okay? So I'm going to pull these two rows up here. And then in place of this column here, I'm going to put 8, 0, negative 2. Alright? Now we should know how to find the determinant. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not too difficult. Copy the first 2 rows over. And here we go. Multiply up, negative 2, so I'll put a positive 2. Multiply up, positive 16, so I'll put a negative 16. Multiply up, 0. Multiply down, positive 24. Multiply down, negative 12. Multiply down, 0. So if we combine these students, we're going to get, we'll put the top of the fraction right here. Negative 28, positive 26. I'm getting a negative 2. Hopefully that's correct. Now let's find the determinant down here. Multiply up, you get a negative 3, so I'm going to put a positive 3. Multiply up, positive 2, so I'm going to put a negative 2. Multiply up, and you get 18. Negative 18, so I'm going to put a positive 18. Multiply down, we get a positive 3. Multiply down, I get a negative 18. Multiply down, I get a negative 2. So let's see what happens here. My 18, my negative 18, positive 18 would cancel out. Positive 6, negative 4, that's a positive 2. So I'm getting a negative 1 for my answer for X for number 17. Now hopefully that's correct. I'm trying to see if I have those answers listed somewhere. Yes, I do, and that is correct. X does equal negative 1. So X equals negative 2 over positive 2, which is negative 1. So come up here and put a negative 1. Now, listen students, when it comes time now to solve for my y, which is what I'm going to do next, remember my determinant for my denominator is 2. I'm going to leave this right here just for a second, okay? Because to be honest with you, I don't need to put any, I'll see where I saw this. I don't need to put any matrix in the denominator. The matrix in the denominator right here would be my coefficient matrix. 1, 2, negative 3. 3, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 3. And I've already found the determinant of that matrix. The determinant of that matrix is positive 2. So I'm just going to put a positive 2. Now, my top matrix, remember, I have to drop out the y column. So my x column is 1, 2, negative 3. My z column is negative 1, 2, negative 3. My y column becomes my constant terms over here. And now I'm ready to find the determinant up top. So copy your first two columns over. 1, 2, negative 3. And your second column would be 8, 0, negative 2. And let's see what happens. Multiply up, you get a 0. Multiply up, negative 4, so I'm going to put a positive 4. Multiply up, we get 48, negative 48, so I'm going to put a positive 48. Multiply down, I get a 0. Multiply down, I get a negative 48. Multiply down, I get a positive 4. So I have 0, 0. Your negative 48 cancels with your positive 48. 4 plus 4 is 8. So I end up with positive 8 over positive 2, which gives me 4, and that is the correct answer. So now lastly, I can quickly solve for z by just substituting these values in to any one of these three equations. It doesn't matter which one. So negative 3 parentheses negative 1, positive y, so positive parentheses 4, then negative 3z equals negative 2. Negative times a negative is positive. Positive and a positive is a positive. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 negative 3z equals negative 2. Bring the 7 over and make that negative 7. So negative 3z equals negative 9. Divide both sides by a negative 3 and z equals 3. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is a positive 3. And that is the correct answer according to your book. Okay, alright, moving on to number 18 and we're finished. Here we're going to solve for y and z first, okay? So, now this is the last one on your homework assignment. Plus you've had your notes video, so I'm going to skip some steps, okay? I'm going to go like this. For my denominator, I'm going to put my coefficient matrix 1, 1, 2, 0, negative 1, negative 3, 2, 2, 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy the first two columns over again. 1, 1, 2, 0, negative 1, negative 3. Now for my top matrix, I'm solving for y, so I'm going to drop out my y column right here and put these in place. So those will go right there in the y, negative 3, negative 4, negative 3. My x column is 1, 1, 2. My z column is 2, 2, 1. Now I'm going to copy the first two columns over again. So 1, 1, 2, and then 3, negative 3, negative 4, negative 3. And let's see what happens. Multiply up, we get negative 16, so I'm going to put a positive 16. Multiply up, we get a negative 6, so I'll put a positive 6. Multiply up, negative 3, so I'll put a positive 3. Multiply down, negative 4. Multiply down, negative 12. Multiply down, negative 6. So positive 6, negative 6 cancel. Combine these two, we get a negative 16. Combine these two, a positive 19. So positive 19, negative 16 is 3. So 3 for my numerator. Now let's come down here and see what we get. Multiply up, that's a negative 4, so I'll put a positive 4. Multiply up is a negative 6, so I'll put a positive 6. Multiply up is a 0. Multiply down, I get a negative 1. Multiply down, I get a 0. Multiply down, I get a negative 6. So these cancel. Positive 6, negative 6 cancel. Your zeros cancel. Positive 4, negative 1. That's positive 3. 3 over 3 is 1. And that is the correct answer, by the way, for your y value. It is 1. So there we go. Don't forget your denominator, excuse me. Your denominator is going to be 3 because that doesn't change. Your matrix does not change, okay? So now we're going to solve for z next. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a z, put a fraction bar, and then put a 3 so I don't forget. Now up top here, I'm going to drop out my z column, okay? So this column here is dropped out. So I have a 1, 1, 2 for my x's, 0, negative 1, negative 3 for my y's, and then put these values in for your z column. So negative 3, negative 4, negative 3. Copy your first two columns over again since we're going to find the determinant. And here we go. Let's see what happens, okay? Multiply up, that's a positive 6, so I'll put a negative 6. Multiply up, positive 12, so I'm going to put a negative 12. Multiply up would be a 0. Multiply down, we get a positive 3. Multiply down, we get a 0. Multiply down, a positive 9. So 9 plus 3 is a positive 12. Your positive 12 cancels with your negative 12. So when you combine all these numbers, you get negative 6. So you have negative 6 over what number? 3. So negative 6 over 3 is negative 2. So C is negative 2. And now that we have two values, I can just come up here and pick any equation that I want. It doesn't matter which one. I like this one because there's just an x and a z. So x plus 2 times z, negative 2, equals negative 3. X, negative 4, positive 2 times negative 2. X, negative 4 equals negative 3. Bring your negative 4 over and make it a positive 4. X equals 1. And there's our answer. 1 comma, 1 comma, negative 2. Okay, so guys, I hope this homework help video has been a help to you. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to call or email.